Unlike the thing of sets, this logic cannot be purely extension. This logic has to be logic of the distribution of intensity in the field where multiplicity is not only hard, but also appear here in a world. The law of things is to be as pure multiplicity and also to be them as objects. The rational science of the first part is mathematical ontology. The rational science of the second part is logical phenomenology, in a much more probably Hegelian than Husserlian sense. Against Kant, we have to maintain that we know the inquiry, and we also know the way by which the thing as such appears in the world. Mathematics of multiplicities, logic of the world, that is our first to critique. The third would be the theory of event, truth, and subject. But I am not going to talk about that today, because existence is a general category of the logic of appearing, and so we can talk of existence completely apart from any consideration about subjectivity. In the framework of the present paper, existence is an asubjective concept. Suppose now we have a pure multiplicity, a thing, which can be formalized as a set. We want to understand what is exactly the appearing or being there of this thing in a determinate world. The idea is that when the thing or the set is localized in a world, it's because the elements of the set are inscribed in a completely new evaluation of their identities. It becomes possible to say that this element, for instance, X, is more or less identical to another element, for instance, Y. In classical ontology, there are only two possibilities. Either X is the same as Y, or X is not at all identical to Y. You have either strict identity or difference. In general, in a concrete world, as a place for beings of multiplicity, we have a great variety of possibilities. Things can be very similar to another, or similar in some ways, and different in others, or a little identical to, or very identical but not really the same, and so on. So, every element of a thing can be related to others, but what we shall name a degree of identity. A degree of identity. The fundamental characteristic of a world is the distribution of that sort of degrees to the multiplicities which appear in this world. So, we have two things the very concept of appearing or of being there or of a word. First, a system of degrees with an elementary structure which authorizes the comparison of degrees. For we must be able to observe that this thing is more identical to this other thing than to this third thing. So the degrees certainly have a formal structure of an order. They admit, maybe within certain limits, the more and the less. This structure is the rational disposition of the infinite shades of a concrete world. I name the ordinal organization of the degrees of identity the transcendental of the world. Transcendental without a subject. Second of all, we have a relationship between the things, the multiplicities, and the degrees of identities. That is precisely the meaning of being in a world for a thing. And finally, we have the meaning of the becoming object of the thing. You have a couple of elements of a multiplicity which appears in a word. A degree of identity corresponds to this couple. This degree, if you want, expresses the more or less of identity between the two elements in this world. So, to every couple of elements, there corresponds a degree of the transcendental of the world. This relationship we call an identity function. An identity function which is active between some multiplicities and the transcendental of the world is the fundamental concept of the logic of being there, or of appearing. If a pure multiplicity is a thing, a multiplicity with its identity function is an object in the world. That is precisely the question of the crucial distinction between thing and object, which is finally the crucial distinction between being as such and appearing in a world. So, the complete logic of objectivity is the study of the form of the transcendental as a structural order, and the study of the identity function between pure multiplicities and the transcendental itself. Formally, the study of the transcendental is the study of some types of structural order. It's a technical matter, interplay between formal fragments of mathematics and logic. And the study of identity function is in fact the study of a great philosophical problem. The relationship between things and objects, between indifferent multiplicities and concrete beings. Here, we can restrict ourselves to 3 points. First, it's very important to remember that there are many types of orders. and therefore many possibilities for the logical organization of the world. We have to assume the existence of an infinite multiplicity of different worlds. Not only at the ontological level, some multiplicity is, something is in a world and not in another world, but at the logical level too, the level of appearing and existence. Two worlds with the same things can be absolutely different from each other because their transcendentals are different. That is to say, the identities between elements of the same multiplicity can radically differ at the level of their being from one world to another world. Second, there are always some limits of intensity of appearing in a world. That is to say, a degree of identity between two elements varies between two limit cases. The two elements can in fact be absolutely identical, practically indiscernible in the logical framework of the world. They can also be absolutely non-identical, absolutely different from each other without any point in common. And between these two limits, the identity function can express the fact that the two elements are neither absolutely identical nor absolutely different. You can easily formalize this idea. You have in the transcendental order a minimal degree of identity and a maximum degree of identity. And most of the time, you have a whole lot of intermediate degrees. So, if in a world, for a couple of elements, the identity function takes the maximal value, we say that the two elements are in this world absolutely identical, or have the same appearing, or the same being there. If the identity function takes the minimal value, we say that the two elements are absolutely different from each other. And if the identity function takes an intermediate value, we say that the two elements are identical to some extent. An extent which is measured by the intermediate transcendental degree. Third of all, there are structural laws of the transcendental field which let us speak of more global determination and object. We can examine, for example, the intensity of the being there of a part of the world, and not only of some elements of it. Or we can develop a theory of the smallest part of an object, what I call the atoms of appearing. We have here a profound and difficult understanding of what happens to a multiplicity when it really appears in the world, when it is not merely its pure composition, but is a very complex network of degrees of identity between its elements, parts, and atoms. When in fact we have the logic of its quality and not only the mathematics of its extension.